Hi, I'm Matt from Karnakalistics. I'm here to speak about reflection of racism that I've experienced through the time, and I just want to leave you with this amazing bit of an amazing speech by Dr. King, which for me sums up everything about why I am so drawn to him and why he is my greatest influencer. So just check this out. This is his last speech he's ever done before he was assassinated. So bear that in mind.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that video, and understood what he was saying. There's almost just a lot of poignancy in what he was saying, and considering it was his last speech, as I mentioned, before he was assassinated, and it's almost here like he knew it was the end for him. But it wasn't. It may have been the end of his life, but it was also a beginning of his memory and his legacy, because he influenced people like myself, which has always been a great impact on my life. So what I wanted to speak about is I've heard a lot of people not so much debating, having views about racism or culturalism, or not mainly racism, and I just want to just debate this. I just want to just talk about from my earliest memories of what I faced, and this isn't place and blame, and I empathise to a degree that certain people were influenced in a way by others who don't know, or it was that era. And we're going back to like the 1980s, early 80s, definitely, where it was supposedly getting better, but it was still rough. Anyway, I grew up in the middle of Hackney. Many of you may know or may not know. I'm a Hackney boy. Born and bred, loving it always. Was educated there, greatest times in my life. Then moved out to West London after when I hit my mid-20s with my kids. So with me, racism. My earliest memory of racism, I must have been about 5, and I remember I used to go to a Catholic school, and that's not saying Catholics are racist. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like it was the era. So what I'm saying, when I was there, I remember I was about 4 or 5, and I was in the infants anyway. And I remember we were playing Kiss Chase. And basically, if anyone don't know what Kiss Chase is, when like the girls chase the boys because they fancy them and they want to kiss them. Anyway, it may be the girls just don't like me, but anyway. And the boys would chase the girls as well. It was kind of a sign of affection in a way. So I remember chasing this one girl, and I went up to her and I was about to kiss her. And she said, "Don't kiss me, you're black." And I was just shocked. I didn't know what she was talking about. And that sounds really strange. I just didn't know what she meant. And then I remember talking to my mum when my mum picked me up from school and saying to her, like, she said, like, what's wrong? Because it kind of like bugged me. I think it's towards the end of the day, like last play or something. And so I told her, and she said, who said it? So I said her, pointed the who out. She said, okay, not to worry about it. She kind of explained that certain people don't understand, and she explained it to me. My parents never ever shielded us from anything. They kind of made us quite aware about what it was all about, and that will be explained later on in what other things I want to mention. So the second part was that the second situation was I was at school again, same school. Might have been a couple of years later though. I think I was in a junior, so I may have been probably 7 or 8 then, if I remember correctly. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure my school friends when they were thinking, Matt, you got your dates wrong. So anyway, I remember being by the this classroom door, and I was singing as you do, and this white kid said to me, "Oh, you're not a very good singer. I thought all black people can sing." And then I made up an excuse like, "Oh, I've got a sore throat," or some rubbish like that. And for the first time, from then I think I realised that I'm not going to be ashamed of who I am or what I am. And I remember my teacher coming out, who was a nun, and she heard it and she had a go at him and said that was wrong what you said. So it was dealt with, which was really cool. And then it was years later. It must have been, I wasn't older than 10. Excuse me. And I remember my dad, right? You saying about my dad. My dad always worked. My dad could be on death's door. My dad would go to work. He's old school, 1927 born. You know, he would just work. Bring bacon, not bring literally bring bacon home, but he'll bring home make sure that we're provided for. Anyway, long story short, I remember he was off work that day, and I said to my mum, why was he off work that day? Why is he here? But it wasn't, there was a weird, eerie feeling from my parents, more of like they were not nervous, more prepared. They seemed to be prepared and ready for something, like somebody was turning up or something's going to happen. But they warned us that the National Front were going to do a walkthrough past our road, which isn't far from where we live, but it was far enough to hear what they were saying. And what I remember is my dad being by the door and all the other black families being outside, and other families as well, to say that. But we weren't allowed to be near the door. My mum kept us back. My dad was near the door. And I remember being limited amounts of police there that day. Oh, from what I remember, because, you know, if you see a policeman, you used to hide when I was younger. Because you thought they'd come and lock you up. Anyway, then I remember hearing chanting and like noises and people shouting, and my dad holding his club thing. It was really big, and he's like, "Yeah, let them," you know. Anyway, and I remember it was mainly why my parents were acting in a certain way. My brothers were there. All of us were in the house, which is really unusual. Though we were in the same building all the time for dinner and stuff, my brothers would always be out and about, so because they're 10 years older than me. Ironically, the police car go by. So long story short, I said like, well, what's this? And my mum, I think, sat us down in the front room and said to me and my brother, like, oh, they're the National Front. They don't like black people. They don't like colours, and they're just, you know, they're not really good people. But just if you see them, don't go with them. Walk away. And that kind of instilled it into me. And I think over a period of time, as I grew, when I went into music and I was writing music and I was a rapper, and I started writing about I was doing message rap, so everything I wrote about was about message rap. I was so dead against obviously racism or inequality and civil rights. My other memory and one thing I have to say, my kids are mixed race. They're all grown up, they're in their 20s now, but I don't think they even know some of half this stuff. It's not something I think I've kind of like shared and said, like, look, this is what happened. It's just not something that they will experience their own form of racism, but they're not experience hear from what I obviously been through. And there's been other stuff since even when they were older, or when they were born, that I've encountered with my kids. But anyway, that's another subject. I just wanted to just say that all what's going on at the moment, and I've been meditating on this all day today, lunchtime, in the morning, because I did my 20-minute meditation, normally about balance. But this morning, it was about like, it's been really troubling me. And I don't think it's debate yet. I think we need to be heard, not just from a black point of view, but black people as a whole. And I heard stories which obviously my other half has been saying, and stuff, and hearing from other people, even on Facebook and Insta, like things like slavery's over, 400, it's over, and all this. And I mean, for example, we were speaking about this. Please again, I was speaking about this. If you arrive on, let me set the scene, because me and my partner were talking about this today. You arrive on the scene, and there's someone laying on the floor. He's white, yeah, he's that out cold, blood dripping. There's a black man standing there, and there's a white guy standing there, and the club's on the floor, whatever, or knives on the floor. What's your first reaction? Who would you feel has done the crime? Who do you think it has caused the injury? The true story was, this is based on truth. Now, the reality is, I heard a story that there's this guy laying on the floor. He was a white guy, and there's another white guy who was in a hoodie, similar to me really, and there's another black guy who was in a suit. The police turned up on scene, straight away arrested the black guy, and the black guy said, "What are you arresting me for? I was trying to break them up from fighting. He stabbed him," so on and so forth. They said no. We just said that there was an incident, so on and so forth, but they never put the white guy in handcuffs. And he was complaining, well, why don't you handcuff this guy? Because all he knows is that this guy's caused this injury, and he's dangerous. And keep in mind, this black guy's got a suit on, right? Perception, with black suit or suit, they're meant to be well-to-do, respectable. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, all police are like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that this is just a story I've heard, and this is how it is. And even going for jobs, I've been in jobs is where I got little jokes from older white people saying, "Oh, he's almost as dark as you, Matt," or "I'm only kidding," or "Oh, your people always buy them cars though, and I thought you buy that. That's what you always buy." And what gives you the right to turn around and say something like that? I mean, is it a part of schooling or something? I mean, it's just really, really weird. It's something, in my mind, my parents never, ever said to us. Because it's ironic, considering, let me just explain about my parents. My parents came here in the early 50s, right? My dad came in here probably 52, a bit later than that. And then my mum came 6 months later. And my dad's worked always, my mum's as well. We've raised 5 kids. We have all of my parents have never ever stopped us from dating a particular colour. As long as we're happy, they've always said that. And majority of us either dated white people or mixed race or Greek or like Italians, or sometimes Indian, but or Indians. But my parents never ever turned around and said not to. So when I met friends who white friends who said, "Oh, I'm not allowed to date my black girlfriend. I'm not allowed to bring her around to the house because she's black." You know, I can't process that, and I suppose me can't processing that is the same as when people of, like, say, white people in a household, not all white people, I'm saying people have in a house, it's okay to call black people by the N-word, you know, or they can instill into their kids that you can't go with them people, or so on and so on, people like that. But, you know, the reality is like, it needs to be debated and it needs to be spoken about. There is so much changing, and there is a shift, and I knew this was all coming from 1995. Massive events were happening in 1995. Now the world is shifting, and we you know what, it's not going to stop. And I feel I suppose people in power, if they're trying to stop this shift, it won't. You can't stop it. They know it's happening, and the awakening has happened, and people have woken up. And I just want to end with a segment at the end. I'm going to put with Dr. King's "I Have a Dream," but I'm going to play part of it, which really inspired me. He's always inspired me, and I know no one's perfect, obviously, but the reality is, I think we need to learn to love each other, no matter what colour, race, or gender you are. We are all humans at the end of the day, and I've always never stopped my children who are mixed race to date whatever colour they want. And I never said I prefer them to be with black or white or orange or green or whatever. Whoever steals their heart, then, you know, it's fine by me. I love my kids, and I think that's what it is. I think it's giving your kids the best away from the negativeness or the evil. I think it was evil, of the ignorance, taken away. I think diluting the ignorance out from you and giving them the purity of the situation. My kids always would always say something, or would always respond with an answer, or will respond with a question anyway. They never tell me, go, "Okay, Dad, blah, blah, blah." I've instilled in them that they should always, you know, question, because how are you meant to learn, you know? So yeah, I just wanted to just end that, and I just want to leave you with the few messages from Martin Luther King. And you know, look after yourselves, think about each other, stay with each other, love each other, and namaste and love from the eternal light. You're beautiful. Peace.
My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, "Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last."